What's up guys, it's Eckingsan. Today I want to talk about Europa Universalis IV. At the time of writing this, I have 179.2 hours clocked on Steam. To me, that's a solid amount of time spent in any given game. In most games, you probably have a good idea of all the mechanics and can really speak to the overall possibilities by that point. But with EU4, oh no, around 200 hours is hardly scratching the surface. This is a massive game with nearly endless possibility, and with a fanbase that has many people with thousands upon thousands of hours of experience. Still, with my teeny tiny 180 hours, I wanted to describe 5 things I love and hate about EU4.
Love.
Let's get to the love part. Here are 5 things I love and a bit about why. War and peace. It's probably no surprise to anyone, but I love the strategizing involved in growing a nation through war and diplomacy. During peace times, focus is on growing the economy, building more troops, acquiring more manpower, and advancing military tech. Importantly, diplomacy must be pursued to get those strong alliances that can help push you forward into the next country. I love the feeling of planning out which target is next, improving relations to obtain a key ally, and then pushing through that war. During wars, navigating terrain and fort zone of control, watching how your allies and enemies are positioned, executing those strategic sieges and battles, and constructing a well-timed peace deal that advances long-term interests, it all feels great and is immensely satisfying when it works. I love that feeling. Seemingly endless possibilities. Of course, a majorly awesome component of EU4 is its nearly endless possibility. You can play as any country in the game and start at basically any time period. If you're a newbie, you can play as the Ottomans, and if you're a pro, you can play as Byzantium. The challenges are different for every country, and gameplay is guided along by achievements and mission trees that feel great to obtain while playing. Another very cool aspect of the game that helps guide players is the use of suggested countries to play during different time periods. Because of the complexity involved in the game, this kind of suggestion helps players pursue gameplay that will be rewarding and a good use of the limited time we all have. Once you've grown beyond those suggestions, you always have the option to select other countries, or you can always replay those same countries while focusing in a different direction. Oh, and a last bit that I want to add, from playing these various possibilities, I love that my understanding of geography and history has improved. I'm not exactly a history or geography buff by nature, so this game has really helped me to know where countries are, or more accurately, were, on a map. Idea groups, technology, events, estates, subjects, alliances. Speaking of effectively endless possibilities, this is all made possible by engaging mechanics that include idea groups, technology, events, estates, subjects, trade, and diplomatic relations. There's much more, but those aspects of the game allow for very different approaches to play. You can focus hard on a specific idea group or set of idea groups to gain those bonuses, or you can invest in development, advance your institution, and try to stay ahead on technology. You can also manage your estates to gain various bonuses, perhaps going all in for one facet of your nation, while sacrificing a different facet. I really enjoy solving a problem like low prestige by granting an estate a privilege, or the challenge of managing estate's loyalty while clawing back crown land. There are usually interesting things happening all around the world that you need to keep track of. Don't let one nation get too big, or it could be a threat to you later, for example. These interlocking mechanics keep you thinking, and events force you to expect the unexpected and respond. Constant improvement via expansions and updates. I very much appreciate the model that Paradox has with its titles. EU4 has been improved in substantial ways through numerous expansions and updates. While I'm not the authority on these changes, I can tell you from my own experience that playing with the expansions is often a markedly improved experience compared to playing without them. Precisely why I've bought several expansions myself. I think that the approach Paradox took to have players use the expansions of another player when in games with them is great for the player and for Paradox. The expansions really are better, so as a player I can have a better experience by joining up with someone else that has them, and Paradox will likely get people to buy them because of this. Although there was a recent hiccup with the Leviathan expansion and 1.31 update, it has at least felt like Paradox is focused on improving the experience for players as time goes on. I wish more games had such continued support. Oh, and also, I find this subscription to access all DLC to be an interesting model. For a few bucks a month, you can gain access to everything. It can be an affordable way to see if you really want to invest in all the DLC without paying much upfront, although I haven't used it myself. A robust, very cool community. The community is really what got me into EU4. By that, I mean a good friend urged me to play it, coached me through it, and kept me coming back. The encouragement and advice has been tremendously helpful to my improvement and has been an absolute pleasure. I've made good online friends through EU4, and I continue to meet people through the game that are wonderful to talk to about EU4 and also other topics, and just to hang out with in general. There are also great mods to improve the quality of life of the game, as well as to add additional gameplay. For example, Voltaire's Nightmare, that adds countries, decisions, and events, or for world building of popular media, like the mod A Song of Fire and Ice, that implements a Game of Thrones world map. There's much to the EU4 community that I haven't taken advantage of, but it's pretty awesome that people are there making mods and offering tips for relative newbies like me.
Hate.
Nothing is perfect, right? Here are 5 things I hate about EU4. So complex, and so much to keep track of. Seemingly endless possibility and interlocking mechanics means a nearly incomprehensible level of complexity and information thrown at the player. I've been on rants in the past about the complexity of EU4, and they usually include something like this. There are menus inside of menus,
buttons that lead to more buttons, numbers that have more numbers when you hover over them. There are estates, subjects, technology advisors, generals and admirals, rebels, map modes, truces, loans, corruption, trade nodes, heirs, monarch points, idea groups, ideas, institutions, ages, religions, stability, aggressive expansion, merchants, diplomats, buildings, government reforms, missions, empires, colonies, claims, cores.
Just so many things that you have to keep track of. How is anyone supposed to look at this screen and know what is important and what is not? I get that's part of the charm, but man, it's exhausting sometimes and overwhelming. There's some very helpful things for my simple brain. Green means good, red means bad, notifications point to things that I should be aware of, and the outliner has useful information. Beyond that, I feel like I'm generally okay not knowing the other stuff. But short of having a person there to teach me all this, I can't imagine myself ever getting into EU4 because of the sheer complexity of the game.
Time investment.
The time investment to really be satisfied with EU4 seems pretty long to me. In our 2-hour multiplayer session, we usually get through about 15 to 20 years in-game, playing around speed 2 to 3. That means that playing from 1440 to 1800 takes about 18 sessions or 36 hours. That's a really long time. Or at least it seems like it to me. We could potentially go faster, but we always run into network issues that force us to slow down, so speed 4 or 5 aren't really possibilities. I wish there was some way to play a streamlined version of the game that doesn't take so long, perhaps by reducing the events or reducing some of the complexity. Beyond the gameplay itself, bottlenecking my gameplay speed, I also run into some speed issues on my local system for single-player games. When I ramp up the speed to 4 or 5, it feels like the game runs less smoothly. For example, when I pan around the map or zoom in and out, it seems to stutter rather than smoothly transition. But putting the technical issues aside completely, the game just feels like it takes forever to make progress. Maybe it has to be this way, but it's something I'm not a fan of.
Connection issues.
Another technical hitch that I've run into is connecting to multiplayer games. I play EU4 through Steam, and I would prefer to right-click on my friend to connect to his game. But for whatever reason, the join game feature doesn't communicate between Steam and EU4. So then, I try to find my friend on the multiplayer server list, but for whatever reason, it doesn't always show him there. What has finally seemed like the most reliable and quickest method is to share the server ID, copy and paste it into the manual connection, and connect that way. But even with that, we've had delays to connect. I would say that it's a connection issue, but we're both chatting on Discord when this happens. If Discord can pass through good audio quality, I would imagine that a game could handshake over the internet. But maybe this is expecting too much. It's a higher priority to add other in-game features, I suppose.
Playing as smaller countries is usually not interesting or viable.
Getting back to the game itself, another component that I have been disappointed in is how uninteresting or virtually impossible it is to play as some smaller countries. This is very disappointing to me, because I would love to play out as a smaller country, or perhaps indigenous nation, and hold back colonization. Of course, I know that it should be difficult to play as a small or indigenous nation, historically speaking, but this game is so freaking ahistorical in many ways. I just wish there was an option to decrease difficulty as these countries, and allow one to live out an alternate history where the Iroquois conquer all of Europe and Asia. There probably are mods to do things like this, or maybe I should just get good, as they say, but I feel like this is a missed opportunity, as is.
All the expansions.
So this last one will sound a little contradictory, but it kind of drives me crazy how many DLCs and content packs there are for purchase. Yes, I love the continuous improvements, like I said before, but I think there are something like 18 expansions and 9 content packs. The EU4 collection bundle on Steam, with a 10% discount right now, is $275. $275! I suppose an argument could be made for these a la carte DLCs that you don't really need them all, or that you could just get the subscription like I said before, but it does feel like a bit much. I know that this is a very detailed game with a lot of development involved, but I feel like Paradox constantly expects players to pay more, and this hasn't been my experience with other games. But then again, I'm not a power user with thousands of hours. I guess those people are where Paradox is looking for its big income.
Closing thoughts.
So that's it. 5 things I love and hate about EU4. What about you guys? What do you love or hate about this game? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please check out the Discord or catch the Twitch stream. Links are down in the description. And before I close, I wanted to give a special shout out to the people who have gotten me into this game and coached me very patiently along the way. Special thanks to Ergo Dr. Hawk for getting me into Paradox titles, and for the many play sessions and tutorializing. Thanks also to GeoGuy24 and True Barload for hanging out on streams, great advice, and so many interesting discussions and posts over on the Discord channel. Special thanks to everyone that tunes into the Twitch streams and is on the Discord server. You all are amazing, and I'm so appreciative of all the time spent with you. Thanks so much for watching, and see you next time.